Welcome back, football fanatics. Scott Gulbransen here with Sportsnaut.com. And we're going to have some fun today. And I'm not going to be alone. No, I'm not just talking today. I'm actually going to bring in and introduce you to Sportsnaut's new, and I say new, brand spanking new, right out of the package, our NFL managing editor at Sportsnaut.com, and that is David Kull. David, thanks for being with me and for making some matchmaking here with NFL coaches and their teams. You ready for this?
Absolutely. It should be a lot of fun, Scott. I can't wait.
All right, so here we go. So this is what we're going to do, guys, is you see all these matchmaking shows. I mean, you've seen them all over the place, right? What we're going to do is we know of two NFL openings, technically, right? You have the Carolina Panthers, you have the Las Vegas Raiders, even though they have an interim head coach, they both do. We're going to talk about them, and then we're also going to give you a couple more of openings we think are pretty sure going to happen. So we're going to start in Carolina, where we just saw Frank Reich get blown out there after 11 games. First time since 1970 a coach has been fired that early in their tenure for an NFL team. David, tell us, okay, you are Cupid. You got to put the arrow in the hearts of David Tepper in Carolina and of this coach. Who is it?
I think the perfect match, it's a match made in heaven here, Scott, is Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. He's already interviewed with Carolina last year before they hired Frank Reich, so they already are very well know him. Plus, since then, in his second year as offensive coordinator with the Lions, he's taken them and elevated them to the number 2 offense in all of the NFL. In addition to that, he's also developed Jared Goff into a top 10 quarterback. It used to be a case where teams won despite or in spite of Jared Goff, as opposed to because of Jared Goff. But now Goff has ascended to a top 10 quarterback. I think Ben Johnson's had a lot to do with that. And really what the Panthers need is they need an offensive guy to come in. They need somebody to come in, work with Bryce Young, hopefully turn him into that franchise quarterback that they were hoping to get with the number 1 pick this last year. And I think Ben Johnson's a perfect guy for that. Plus, they owe Frank Reich $36 million still. So I would think they'd want to go cheap. And what could be cheaper than hiring a new guy, give him a new opportunity? Ben Johnson's a perfect fit.
There you go. So the Valentine has been sent, right, to Ben Johnson from the Carolina Panthers, according to David Kull. All right, David, here is my choice. Now, I'm talking Raiders. I cover the Raiders. I have a Raiders show as well, as many of you know. And I know a lot of people like Antonio Pierce, stand-up guy doing a great job of stepping in a bad situation after Josh McDaniels. So my selection is in Miami for them. It is Frank Smith, who's the offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. Why? Number one, there's an old saying, if you're in Raider Nation, once a Raider, always a Raider. Even if you played there 1 year, even if you played there 5 games, you are always a Raider. Well, Frank Smith was the tight ends coach for the Raiders from 2018 to 2020, so both in Oakland and 1 year in Las Vegas. During that time, guess who had his best years ever? That was, of course, Darren Waller, right? So he got the most out of Darren Waller when Darren Waller was healthy, including 2,400 receiving yards during his time under his tenure. Then you look at what he does in Miami. He spent a year in LA, then he went to Miami 2022 as the offensive coordinator. He comes in there. He's a top 10 offense in his first season as OC under Mike McDaniel. The first time the Dolphins had been top 10 offense since 1995. I was still in college. That's how long ago that was.
Wow.
And so you see that, and they rank 6th in points per season, 364 points last season. Now they're number 1 in the NFL. Also, his age, his relatability, he really connects with players like Mike McDaniel. You can imagine that whole staff is that way. And his adaptability and his ease at growth. I think what the Raiders need is they need a dynamic force like you saw in Miami. You need a dynamic force. He already is familiar with the organization from being with them once, and he's got the offensive, just a dynamic offense to be able to come in there and turn things around for the Raiders, especially since they might be drafting a quarterback this year.
You think they can bring Tyreek Hill with them?
Yeah, Tyreek Hill and Tua. That would be good. Tagovailoa would be a nice addition. All right, we're moving on to our second team on David's side, the matchmaker. Cool guy over there. Tell us who you got now.
Okay, well, this is all about going big or going home here. Okay, so I'm going for the biggest name out there with the Los Angeles Chargers, who will likely move on from Brandon Staley at some point. I'm saying Jim Harbaugh is the perfect fit for the Chargers. And there are many reasons for that. First is, I would imagine at Michigan this year, with everything that's gone on with the sign stealing investigation, he served a 3-game suspension for that. He's coming back this weekend for the Big Ten championship game. but I'm sure that's left a sour taste in his mouth. And in his 9 seasons at Michigan, he's pretty much done just about everything except for winning the national championship. But he has beaten Ohio State 3 straight times. With the national championship, the only thing left on his resume, he could get that this year. You never know. But anyway, I would imagine he's ready to move back to the NFL. And the Chargers situation, if you look at that, they're in a market with the Rams. They're sharing the SoFi Stadium with the Rams. And why not get a guy, the biggest name out there? You're just going to draw a bigger audience with a guy like that. So Jim Harbaugh comes in. He has a franchise quarterback already there in Justin Herbert. He's got some other pieces with Keenan Allen and with guys on defense like Khalil Mack and with Joey Bosa when he's healthy. So you have pieces there. And one thing about Jim Harbaugh that has always been true is he is a quick fix guy. Everywhere he goes, whether it's Stanford or the 49ers or Michigan, he improves the situation immediately. Every team gets better the following year when he comes in, and they get incrementally better after that. That's always been the case with him. The Chargers could definitely use an infusion of his mojo there, I would say, with that team and with that franchise. He's the perfect guy. Plus, he ended his career with the Chargers, so he's already familiar with the Spanos family.
See, there you go. Those connections right there. Of course, I look at Chicago. If I'm Harbaugh, right, I got to go where they already have an established quarterback, because that's how you win in the NFL. You have to have a good quarterback. But if I don't, I'm going to go where I get to pick my own, and Chicago might fit that bill too. So I like that, though. That's a different call. I don't hear anybody talking about the Chargers and Harbaugh. So there you go. All right, Dave, for my next selection, I'm going to a big game coming up, Eagles and the 49ers. Here is my pick for Washington, because as much as people think Ron Rivera is a good dude, he beat cancer, it's all a great story, and he's well respected, hasn't gotten it done in Washington. He is done as the Commanders head coach. My selection for them, they just got to go up the road to Philly. Press Taylor from the Philadelphia Eagles runs the offense there. Of course, he had great success in college at Tulsa. Then he went to Indianapolis, where he had, Jonathan Taylor. He had all these guys. So he goes to Philadelphia, and he creates this play, this unstoppable play, called the tush push or the Philly special, whatever you want to call it. So that's what Press Taylor did. But he is a football guy, comes from a football family. What he's done with that Philadelphia offense has been sparkling. It's why they are one of the top teams in the NFL, why they can come back from deficits, because it is dynamic. And of course, he's got Jalen Hurts. Look what he's done to help Jalen Hurts be more productive. So I like Press Taylor in Washington, and he knows the division, right? So he's already in the division. So why not just bring him over to Washington and create some havoc there for the Giants, the Eagles, and the Cowboys, and bring him in? I think he's just one of the better young offensive minds in the game, and I think he fits in Philly.
That's a great call there, Scott. I love that choice.
Nice. Well, and so I like the 4 of these. That's why we're here on Sportsnaut, having some conversation. We know these jobs are going to be open, barring some miracle, and 2 of them already are. So that's the perspective we want to do. We're going to continue to do matchmaking, and you'll see a lot of this coverage coming up the rest of the football season. David, tell everybody what we got going on at sportsnaut.com when it comes to the NFL.
Well, we're going to be covering all the big stories, obviously, trying to give people different angles on the stories, because the news is out there. What can we do that's different from everybody else? Try to look at maybe the more unexpected angles. I know we have a lot of lists on our site that are very informative and instructive and insightful from our cast of writers and editors here. So what you can expect is just excellent coverage of things that people might not expect to see anywhere else. So I would hope that people would come to Sportsnaut to get sort of a different side of the game than they would get at any other place.
Absolutely. And you, with your years of experience, I mean, you are an amazing addition to the team, and I know everybody's excited to have you here. And we'll do more of these videos. David and I are going to do a bunch of more stuff together. This matchmaking one, I hope you had fun with it. And do us a favor, go to sportsnaut.com, check out the NFL coverage all season long. We also got everything else, whether you're into baseball, basketball, college football, doesn't matter. We got it for you. Do me a favor, make sure you subscribe here to the YouTube channel right below. Hit that notifications bell so you always get the first notice when there's something new from Sportsnaut, and we appreciate that so much. David, take care, man. We'll see you next time.
All right, Scott. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. For David, I'm Scott Gulbransen. This has been Matchmaking. Yes, from sportsnaut.com and the NFL. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.